There has been a sort of craze of recent for storytellers to speak of stormraisers, and I for one am not one to ignore a trend, and so I shall speak of the founder of this famed group, the first ever stormraiser, Rjolmir. But before we start, real quick, I'm just going to stab you in the side with an unhealthy dose of reality to mix this tale up a little. See, unlike most who are going to tell you the tale of the Valkürians, and by extension the stormraisers, I have not only met Valkürians, but I have actually talked to them about their own history in their own words. And so for the sake of accuracy, I shall be correcting some misconceptions. So for a start, there's actually no such thing as a stormraiser. They did not come up with the name, nor do they use it. The term stormraiser is what the Wingard called them after they had first met these warriors. But there is some truth in the title of the first one being Rjolmir, as he was the first to be called by this name. In fact, originally it might have just been a moniker for him, Rjolmir the Stormraiser. But given the other warriors he helped to inspire, I can understand how it slowly became to be known as the descriptor for their warrior class. Oh, right, I should probably actually get into the whole guardianship he created. So the Guardians of the Valkürian Sanctuary are a very recent thing. Rjolmir himself founded them, and he's only really one generation detached from our current one. His children are alive, if old, and his grandchildren are of proper fighting age. But Valkürian warriors have been around since the dawn of their people. So what exactly did he start? Well, in traditions of old, the Guardians were the strongest and the leaders of a clan, and their role was to do just that, protect their own as well as their tribe, and nothing more. Rjolmir was like this. He was a tribal chief, in fact, and was a famed warrior that every single tribe of the Valkürian people respected. And when the Skald came knocking yet again to expand their southern Vard, he used his prestige and honor to gather all who were able to fight back. For the first time in a long while, they were not only able to stop them, but push them back for quite some ground and win lost territory. But in doing so, they discovered, or rather rediscovered, something. See, one of the places they reclaimed was the Valkürian Sanctuary, a fortress built by a predating people that both factions used as just that, a fortress. But there was a secret deep below the castle that they had found. For found hidden deep below the fortress were the ore veins of Thundersteel, a tool that would very much come in handy for his people. Rjolmir ordered it to be mined and forged, so that all warriors of Valkürian blood may wield them, regardless of family, clan, or tribe. And legend says that even the gods listen to him, and that is why this ore is so precious to their people. But he would not return to his home tribe. He had made his son the chief in his stead, and in return took up an oath, the Warden's Oath. Now, the modern Warden's Oath was an agreement made between the Guardians led by Haldor and the last queen of the Skald, Iraine, to protect these lands from all would-be invaders, and signed peace with the Skald through the oath. But the oath Rjolmir took up was not this oath. It has, in essence, been replaced by the more modern one, but it did serve the same role, to protect these lands, and so the Guardians as they know them, are more actively dubbed by foreigners as the Stormraisers, were born. They were to serve as guardians of the sanctuary instead of a clan, and Rjolmir was the first to take up this right, along with many other strong warriors from every tribe. If each clan has, say, about 10 warriors, 1 or 2 of them would take up the Warden's Oath and journey to the sanctuary. But they were always allowed to return home, and did so commonly. This was just their station, so to speak, not a outcast as some tend to see it as. There were many other things he helped implement too during this time. For a start, many religious figures flocked to the sanctuary, at least those amongst Valkürian grounds, and it became quite a common sight to see many monks and priestly figures attending the sanctuary's halls. In fact, they've sort of become more numerous than the Guardians over recent years. Another group that started to flock here was skilled artisans, and this was a group that Rjolmir wished to foster, actually, as many weapon and armor smiths were amongst their ranks. And this is where the master crafters of the sanctuary began to take shape. Some of the more ruined rooms were reused and turned into forges for thunder steel. And though they are quite a recent group, they really are gaining a reputation. I like to think that in a few hundred years, Valkürian smiths might be some of the best in the land. Another side note is that there seems to be a bit of confusion on where their power over lightning actually comes from, and how it works. Well, it's not too clear, and even they themselves are not fully sure of its requirements, but there are definitely requirements. For a start, Valkürian blood is needed, it seems. A devastating axe wielding the storm will be used to immense power in the hands of a Valkürian, but will do absolutely nothing in the arms of a Skeldian. But not all of them can use it. It seems there is a strength requirement, for if they are not sufficiently powerful enough, they may hurt themselves in the process of channeling this power. There also seems to be a test of character in part as well, as some Valkürians just can't manage to conjure anything. That being said, some of the more rogue stormraisers are, shall I say, not nice people, so it's really hard to tell on what's actually being judged when it comes to this test of character. Thundersteel is, of course, one of the things that brings out this power, but it is not the only one, though definitely the most powerful. There is a black stone known as Neader that is found deep underground that can also channel this power to a lesser degree. But, back to the topic at hand. Rjolmir ruled wisely, and by example, for most of his life. Almost everyone of Valkürian blood looks up at him as a hero of recent history. In the same way that the Skald do Rjolmir, but almost as honoured as maybe even Strategist. He was true to his people, and a firm military ruler, who would be a match for some of the best strategists. In fact, one Valkürian tale even states that he beat Rjolmir in an army endeavour, though this is unproven, and to be fair, she was very old at the time, while he was in his prime. His death is a little unclear, and muddled in confusion of details, but what is clear is that he fell in battle, an honour amongst his people. And if the historical records are to be taken into account, it was almost clearly in a fight against the Skald. His time and power, however, was the start of a turning point in Valkürian history. Though they still saw many losses by the hand of the Skald, he began a turning point of both give and take, which eventually resulted in the clear borders we have today, and the pseudo-defensive pact that these two alliances have. But I should note another tale the Valkürians tell of his death, more of a legend. The effect is the same, he died in battle, but some say it was not with the Skald, but to the first ever wave of the monsters known as Dwellers. It is said he went out heroically, slaying countless of their number, and died saving a young stormraiser by the name of Cadillac. But this is just a tale. But what I rather like, and so I thought I would mention. Regardless of what you believe, he was truly a formidable ruler and champion of his people, who reformed them just in time for dire events. A leader who ruled by example, that even the Skald have come to respect, myself included, definitely. Thank you for listening to my tales. I'm the Ashspawn. Feel free to leave a like, comment, or subscribe. It would really mean a lot to me. But, till next time, fellow traveller, have a good day.